Pretty close split. Lots of favorites here for Huck and ZergZingZing. So we're at the load screen. Currently 21 people in the favor of Huck, 24 in the favor of ZergZingZing, but I see about 1,000 of you tuning in. So do take the opportunity to type !vote in the name of your favorite player throughout this series, throughout this best of 3, to let us know who you're rooting for. Now watch as Rifkin presses all the wrong buttons. That's all you see. That's all you miss, by the way, normally when the intros are still playing out. Just me messing up the buttons. But, you guys, without further ado, this is the IEM Cologne Qualifiers, stage number 2. Only 2 players from today can advance, the winner of the winner's bracket and the winner of the loser's bracket. So both of these guys have plenty of opportunities, but facing each other here in the first round can't be easy for either of them. I'm Rifkin, joined by Zombie Grub. You're watching Base Trade TV, and spawning here in the lower right corner of the map. He's red, he's Zerg. He comes from IVD Gaming, IV Drip. It's ZergZingZing!
And in the lower left, as the orange Protoss, it is going to be Evil Genius's Huck.
Man, Zerg players get the cool banelings with the brighter team colors, but probes on any color look fantastic, I'm just saying. I like the red ones best, they look like they're on fire. But of course, you guys are looking at the GameHeart Light extension mod. Some of you guys will be like, how do you get these cooler colors? It's built into the game, it's built into the map. It does not affect the players at all. They just see the game as if it was a normal game. But we get the wonderful viewing experience of the team logos, of the brighter colors, and of course, where's it, somewhere in the middle of the map? The Intel Extreme Masters logo. More importantly than all else.
Very fancy. And of course, when you guys are watching, there will be occasionally a little thing that comes off to the right. I won't see it, but that kind of sucks. But you guys will, and that's important. So those upgrade timers, they're super cool. They just got implemented. And of course, if you guys are interested in GameHeart, then you can actually look at the developer's blog. He's actually did a blog recently. He does a bunch of blogs. He was very serious when he asked for money with that Kickstarter. So, one of the ways that he showed, like, I'm, not just taking your money and leaving, is he did those blogs.
Well, Zombie Grab, something to talk about here is Huck has gone for a very greedy opening here with that Nexus first. Pylon usually on the low ground immediately means that faster forge, but not even worried about that. Just going to get his economy roaring as soon as possible. ZergZingZing, on the other hand, of course, playing quote-unquote blind. It is a 4-player spawn map, but his Overlord does luck out in finding Huck right away. And of course, we always see Zerg players scout horizontally because, well, it's the worst spawn location. As far as trying to coordinate where your third base goes, you never want to have your opponent spawn horizontally, at least on Frost.
ZergZingZing has not scouted that it was in fact such an early Nexus, though. He saw one pylon up on the high ground, and I don't know, he could possibly assume that there was a gateway to the left of that, and it's a gateway expand. Of course, as we know it, it's a frontal wall off, as opposed to, gate, Cybernetics core, and then Nexus.
Yeah, it's a bit of a faster expansion, but, ZergZingZing is responding to this by taking his third base here pretty quick. Wasn't before the pool by any means, but he's still rather quick third. And as stated before, it's really important to influence where that third base goes. You never want to put it down here if your opponent's horizontal. That's scumbag cliff, Zombie Grub. How many times have we seen it screw over somebody's base?
It's pretty bad. Not only the cliff, honestly, but the bridge that's there, it can be really terrible. Usually for the Zerg player, as a Colossus gets in there versus a bunch of Hydralisks, you're done for.
Oh yeah, that tight little choke down here. A couple links from ZergZingZing do try and get into the base of Huck, but fortunately for Huck, the cannon completes in just enough time to scare him out, so no free scouting information other than, well, the Overlord, but that's not the same thing. I like that he actually went to take the watchtowers too. This isn't exactly where probes necessarily put down those proxy pylons, but it covers almost half of the map in the middle. Just knowing that there's no probes running through the central part of the map is going to put your mind at ease.
Yeah. It's pretty darn useful. Occasionally we see Zerg players get 4 lings instead of 2, because of course 2 usually go to the Nagas, as we see here. And then 1 goes and stays at the front, looks to see what's popping out in the front. Another one goes to actually check for those proxy pylons. If the Zelnaga doesn't cover everything, you got to make sure they don't put one, not even... sometimes they're just proxy pylons for future use, but if you can detect it early, it's sometimes, or a lot of the times, actually a sign that they're about to do some type of aggression.
Looks like this Overlord will slowly, keyword slowly, die here, but it gets a nice scout off of Huck's base. Will he see the Stargate? He will see the Stargate, so big question is, of course, what's Huck going to bring out of this? Phoenixes used to be the standard and the only thing you would see for a long time. A chrono boost on nothing, a bit of a misclick, but perhaps trying to hide the timing from the Overlord.
Well, it is going to be a Void Ray, and it's going to go undetected for quite a while. In fact, probably for like a really long time, is there's no overlords that's going to go try and kill anywhere near the Protoss base.
Yeah, it's weird to see the Void Ray come out first. It's going to be great at cleaning up a lot of the overlords around the map. It's going to be great at holding off roaches or lings initially, but you know, this is one of those weird things where you think, alright, if he's going to dump 2 or 3 Void Rays into this, it's a base snipe, but there was no Mothership Core made, which to me is also a little bit weird with this build, not at all out of the ordinary. Of course, you get the Void Ray out much quicker along with these sentries, because that Mothership Core, man, does that soak up gas. But with no Mothership Core, there's no easy mode Photon Overcharge defense. You don't have that intense amount of scouting that it provides. Just the Void Ray. So I'm a little curious how Puck plans to use this. Or not Puck,
So we
sorry,
got 4
Huck.
gateways. Yeah, Huck.
I did that last time we cast him too. I don't know why. My apologies. My apologies to him and the fans. It's not on purpose.
Yeah, and of course Puck's not in the tournament.
No, you have to drop that
Maybe
sadly.
kind of a lucky on that case, but of course we'd love to see him in the actual tournament. But yeah, Huck is going for 6 additional gateways, bring up to a total of 7. He only got 1 Void Ray. That was it. It was seen by the Ling at the Xel'Naga, so it really didn't have, you know, it couldn't do any damage. The Queens were already in position. Not that it would do tons, just being 1 Void Ray. But will ZergZingZing notice that this is going to be, you know, pretty much a gateway all in?
This is such a weird thing to see. He's going to be distracted in the main, of course. Picks off an Overlord for free and gets out with the Void Ray, but ZergZingZing is going to be, I think, if he gets distracted too much by this, if the Queens are brought from creep spreading and over to the main in order to deal with this Void Ray, he may get completely caught off guard by this Gateway Warp, and there's a lot of Zealots coming in. Oh man, they look so cool orange, oh my god. Sorry, I love stronger team colors, guys. I don't know what to tell you. The roaches coming out will be able to deal with this. You can always kite around, and as long as the Queen takes out that Void Ray, there's no threat to the roaches. Mothership Core coming out, as delayed as it was, will have very little energy. In fact, can only cast 1 Time Warp at best. But that's a lot of Zealots, regardless. With +1 weapons, if this was Zergling, ZergZingZing would be, well, probably screwed, quite frankly. But he's got roaches. He's not kiting with them. I'm not sure why, but he doesn't need to, as he's got more than enough to clean this up, combined with those Queens. Huck's pressure is simply not going to pay off here, and he does lose quite a bit for it.
That was a great reaction by ZergZingZing. He got 16 roaches like right when the attack just started, and even got like, you know, squeezed 3 more in there to put him up to a perfect 60. And now he realizes, well, that was easy. I deflected that, no problem. I'm going to keep droning up, and you know, I probably got a little ahead because of that. So, you know, he did get a lot of gateways to try and do something. Now he's got to stay just on 2 base for quite a while longer. ZergZingZing could try and go over to the other side of the map. He doesn't have speed for his roaches, so that could be a little dangerous. But to see if, in fact, Huck is, you know, when does he take that 3rd and where does he take the 3rd? Usually it's going to be on the northern base, but, I mean, it's probably going to be there, but I guess technically the southern one, too, is Protoss player.
Well, he's got a lot of sentries at home. The follow-up for this, whatever he decides to go for, it will definitely be accompanied with the appropriate amount of force fields. ZergZingZing, however, is invested in Hydralisk pretty quickly here. He's got the roaches already available, and of course, +1 on the way. Roach Hydra, pretty good at dealing with any sort of sentry follow-up. I mean, it used to be Sentry Immortals, the staple, and looks like Huck is in fact investing in that, but I don't really know that that's going to pay out the way he wants it to. Now, he has kept these Void Rays alive, which is really key, and he's actually sniping off a drone or 2 with it. Kind of cool tactics there, but Void Rays do fare kind of decently against Hydralisks, so as long as they've got the ground army to buffer for them. Charge lots coming to the face of a Hydralisk. The Hydras aren't going to be shooting the Void Rays, they're going to be trying to deal with the Zealots.
Ooh, roach speed not quite ready. There it goes. Finally kicks in. The Mothership Core goes down instantly. Puts down 2 time warps in actually a decent position, as most of ZergZingZing's reinforcements will go past them. But probably would want to save that a little, you know, closer to home. A lot of sentries. Sentries really help out against Roach Hydra. And look at that. It's a bunch of roaches already going down. There's only Hydras left. It's actually, you know, they're glass cannons, as it is said. It's not that big of a deal, but even now, that is just a lot of units from ZergZingZing.
Well, the Immortal's getting chased off. Did live, though. Isn't going to die to these roaches. Most of the sentries have been focused down, and the Void Rays are still standing, albeit just barely. Huck will hold this off with no problem. ZergZingZing is definitely going to have to regroup and rethink his strategy if he wants to come for round number 2.
Yeah. You know, it would have been great to deny that 3rd, get a cancel at the very least, but Huck was just on top of it, and those force fields, you know, they're pretty darn good. He did lose quite a number of sentries in that fight, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 right there. But he has a 3rd up, and that's that might be a little more than he was, you know, he probably maybe expected at least 1 cancel. Had ZergZingZing maybe like immediately counterattacked, but of course he was waiting for those Hydralisk.
You know, I think the Void Ray count being maintained was huge too. Normally in those sorts of aggressive attacks, ZergZingZing takes out 2 of the 3 Void Rays or something like that, and suddenly Huck doesn't have that many to fall back on. But he's got 4 Void Rays. He kept the Immortal alive. He's got a lot of Zealots to buffer this, and Storm is on the way. Hydros have exactly as much health as Storm does damage, guys, so dealing with this army, charge lots included, plus Storm, gonna be a problem. But it's not done yet is the key thing, so an attack right now might be the best chance for ZergZingZing to snipe off some of these critical units.
The upgrades are pretty darn good for Huck, by the way. 2 for his ground, and also 1 for his air. I don't know where he sneaked that in, but he did. Also getting shield to help out both. Multiple attacks here from ZingZing, and not really working out so well.
He does have to be careful. Storm's finishing up in about 10 seconds, as we can see, thanks to the awesome countdown timer, but you know, the Storms are really going to change the tide of this battle. Forget Force Fields for a second, he's still got a couple holstered, but if he gets the Storms off, the Hydros can no longer take that engagement they want to. I love that ZergZingZing's trying to split and come from multiple angles, pincer Huck in, but as we see, Huck is not going to allow that to happen, being rather aggressive, has to retreat back towards the natural base, but that's okay. What he has is going to clean this up. Charge lots are going to try and split between these 2 armies. Storm does go down, and Queens on the front line is going to try and do a little bit of transfusing, but it's just not enough. Force Fields are placed down quite nicely, and the Void Rays still stand. That split from Huck was perfect.
It was really, really good. I was surprised that he saved his Forge, to be honest. I felt for sure that ZingZing would target that, but we have a Swarm Host transition going on the way, but also a War Prism Harass. There is some static defense, so actually not going to be too terrible for ZingZing.
Buys him just a little bit of extra time that he needs. Looks like the main base will be held here in the end. The Swarm Hosts are a bit of a curious choice, though. This composition is pretty good at sniping off Swarm Hosts. The Void Rays and that one Observer are just going to fly over the army and focus them down. I don't know that these are going to pay off. I mean, if there weren't Void Rays, this is a great answer to what Huck has. But with the Void Rays, I don't know. It's questionable.
Yeah, he's really lacking on Queens, too. He's only down to 2, where he had like 6 before that engagement happened. So he's actually only... That's 2, right? Yeah, so he's only ever injecting off of 2 bases as opposed to the 4 that he has.
That's a good point. I forgot that he had pulled those Queens in that last attack. Well, you know, having 4 bases helps make up for that, though, right? I mean, that's the extra hatchery, that's the extra larva for that 3rd one, so it's kind of like injecting around the 3rd with 4 bases. He's not mining off of it just yet, but he did just transfer a lot of drones there. So, you know, the Swarm Hosts aren't going to get a lot accomplished as far as the straight-up fight goes, but if he can kind of not really contain Huck, sorry, you're not going to contain him, but if he can keep him back long enough to get this defensive line established in the middle of the map, with the Hydros he has, he may just be able to keep him back and just bully Huck with economy.
It's... You know, Huck, if he wants to go in, he has to go in and, like, actually kill the Swarm Hosts. Oh, that's actually what he's doing. I'm a little surprised that he's being so bold. He sees an opening, though, and he's going to go ahead and take it. Swarm Hosts do burrow. Nice concave for ZingZing, but Storms are going down as well. There's just not enough Hydralisk.
Yeah, the Hydras died way too fast. They couldn't even engage into those Void Rays, so now we're treating the Swarm Hosts once again. He's still dealing with a Zealot harass towards that 4th base, too. Another round of Zealots coming, and Huck is relentless. The Spinecrawlers are going to try and hold on to this, but it's just not going to work. Not against this many Zealots. With level 2 weapons as well, we see them just getting shredded to bits. ZergZingZing, he can't split his army the same way Huck did to defend.
Yeah. He is sending some roaches over there, so hopefully the Spinecrawlers gave ZingZing enough time that he won't lose the hatch. Well, they did lose quite a number of drones. Huck, by the way, is going into Colossus. You know, that's what I was, trying to say before the engagement happened, was that if he went in, he had to go in, right? You can't just stick around on the tech that Huck has and expect to defend. The Locust will kill some of your units, as you really need a good number of Colossus to stop them from reaching. So I really think Huck did really nicely with that attack, though, and this transition is going to be flawless.
This is fantastic harass, too, because right now Huck, when it comes down to the bare minimum, guys, or the bare bones, I should say, he's trading minerals for a combination of minerals and gas. He's also buying the attention of ZergZingZing, and ZergZingZing's a player who, when you play Zerg in this sort of composition, you need to be ahead in not only resources lost, but also like in your overall army supply. Unfortunately, he is neither. Huck is currently leading 105 to 90 army supply. He's got upgrades in his favor. He's got tech available through Storms, and as Zombie just pointed out, Colossus. So this is going to be very difficult. Oh, ZergZingZing's not even rallying his Locusts. Oh no. Warp in the main continues. I guess that Warp Prism was never cleaned up. Infestation Pit in a bit of danger. Hydras are doing what they can to try and aid this, but of course, like we said earlier, bit of glass cannon syndrome, as it were.
Huck is posturing a little bit here. He doesn't have the Colossus to take no damage from the Locust, so as you can see, a few sentries go down. But soon he will. He'll be up to 3.
This is like...
And that's a pretty decent number. There's a lot of harass too. I really feel like it's key here that Huck has never really lost the majority of his main army. So he's allowed to spend so many minerals on all of this harass. He doesn't have to build up his army, too fast.
Well, that's what I was talking about earlier, like, when he didn't lose the Voiders initially, when he didn't lose the Immortals, like, he's throwing away the units that he can afford to lose to keep the much more important ones alive, and I really like that. I was gonna make a comment too, this is kind of like watching Dodo waves, like, the waves of minions just constantly coming into ZergZingZing's base, like, he's trying his hardest to hold on to this, but, I mean, he's gotta clean up these pylons. Huck has got way too much out of this. Like, he's killed so many Hydrals with these, Zealots, he's killed so many, drones as well, he's still got a probe up here and 2 Templar hiding. Oh god, he could walk in and storm this base.
Yeah. Finally, that one pylon went down, but there's a probe sneaking another one, so it doesn't really matter. Warp Prism also now warping in DTs as the Dark Shrine had finished. Goes again for the infestation pit that was, I believe, just remade.
How is ZergZingZing not cleaning this up at this point either? Like, he's got to be so frustrated he doesn't have a Spore Crawler down at the least, because this is like the 9th round of Warpins that Huck's been able to just... Like, Huck... Guys, keep in mind, Huck's main army's been over here at his 3rd base for like the entirety of this game, and he's just been using pylons in the north with Zealots. Oh, beautiful storm on top of those Hydralisks, as well as the Warp Prism towards the main, to really just keep ZergZingZing from, well, quite frankly, getting anything done.
This swarm host count is not really high enough to stop Huck from pushing in like this, so it looks like all the swarm hosts will go down. His army is just everywhere on the map, not really working out for ZingZing. Trying to come in now, but there's so much. There were so many high-tech units and so many storms.
Well, nice time warp to keep even the Hydralisks at bay. ZergZingZing has put up a pretty good fight, but Huck's multitasking is that of a Terran player. Is all I can really describe it as. I mean, it's been combination of drops, combination of warp-ins, combination of everything just to keep ZergZingZing from really getting any control in this game. This is looking pretty bad for him. He's coming up here to the main base with his main army. Huck is just in this deathball status, combined with the harass that he's been laying on behind this. Good game's finally called.
Yeah. That was really nicely played by Huck. What's important about that attack that also happened was, maybe ZingZing thought that he was a little more ahead than he was because he denied it so heavily, but what really happened was that Huck used only Zealots as he was doing most of the game and kept all those sentries back at home. So when the counterattack happened, he had those force fields that kept that 3rd alive.